There's a lot in this world that can make you stupid. Drinking Drano, certain wild mushrooms, an ECW-style pile driver, through a table. Why not try something that might make you a little bit smarter? It's time for another damn trivia show. Stick around.
Binary chemical weapons.
Four weeks after a mysterious, incurable virus spreads throughout the Wicked Radio Network, a handful of survivors try to find sanctuary. Their only hope to stave off insanity is to keep their brains occupied with trivia. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 28 episodes later on another damn trivia show. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Matt Brunage, and I'm here to help you stave off the zombie apocalypse with fun-going, happy-go-lucky trivia. Let's get right down to business, because the sooner we get to the trivia, the sooner we can fight off the zombies that is brain stagnation. We don't want that. So real quick, I want to shout out to those who are kind enough to tweet me, let me know their scores, let me know their opinions on things. So we got one from Matt Colgan, or at A Drinking Buddy, if you want to say hi to him on Twitter. And he said about episode 26, only 17 on the last episode. Seems my kryptonite is nail polish. 0 out of 5. And that's the problem. One category screws you over, and boom, your score goes from like 23 one week to 17 the next. Or something like that. Not even sure if that's the right numbers. No, it would be 22 to 17. Sorry. Anyway, something very exciting, a topper to all else, is I got a message from Tia47, and she reported a score on episode 26 of 25 out of 25, being the second person to record a perfect score, and coincidentally only 1 week after our original perfect score was recorded by Matt Wilson over at the Beaver exhibit. And speaking of Matt Wilson, he wrote to Tia47 on Twitter saying, "I gladly welcome Tia47 to the club of intellectual superiority and world domination." Now, ladies and gentlemen, are you smart enough? Do you have what it takes to dominate the world of trivia? Like Matt Wilson? Like Tia47? Do you? Huh? Well, time to find out. So let's get right to the trivia right now. So, as you may not be surprised to hear, after that opening you just got, our first category of episode 28, of 28 episodes later, is the zombie virus, where all 5 questions will be about the zombie virus, and as it appears in various movies and TV shows. Here we go. Question 1. The movie 28 Days Later has a sequel. What was it called? What was the sequel to 28 Days Later called? Question 2. In the Resident Evil films, what is the name of the company that acts as the main antagonist in the series? So there's 17 of them, I think. I think 15 years from now they'll have a hologram of Mila Jovovich just shooting things with weird Uzis, and it'll be awesome, I'm sure. In that series, Resident Evil, what was the name of the company that makes up the main antagonist, that is the main antagonist in the film series? Question 3. In Zombieland, one of my personal favorite movies, and I believe it was my favorite movie of 2009. In Zombieland, the virus that causes the zombie apocalypse is a mutated strain of what disease? What disease mutates to create the zombie apocalypse in Zombieland? Question 4. The movie World War Z was based on a book of the same title, written by what author? Hint, he is the son of a very famous filmmaker, and comedian, if that helps. World War Z, based on a book. Who was that book's author? And finally, in the comic and TV series The Walking Dead, what is the name of the former sheriff / lead character? Who is the lead character in The Walking Dead? Hint, he was a sheriff when there was still law and order in the world. And ladies and gentlemen, I dedicate this category, though they did not request it, but I suspect they'll do well in it, to the 3 hosts of The Talking Dead. Alright, so that's it for the zombie virus. We are now going on to category 2, and that is logos this week. Logos. Alright, so we're dealing with corporate logos. Here we go, question 1. This company's logo features a 2-tailed mermaid. So what company's logo is a 2-tailed mermaid, or at least features a 2-tailed mermaid? Freak mermaids. Question 2. The logos for which 2 computer-based companies are just their names written in red, blue, yellow, and green letters? So their logos are just the name of the companies. They're both computer-based, and the letters are red, blue, yellow, and green. Which 2 computer-based companies am I talking about? Question 3. Which company's red and white logo uses its stylized letters to form the shape of a man's face with a fedora in one of its 2 words? Question 4. Which company's logo is nicknamed the Golden Arches? Which company's logo is nicknamed the Golden Arches? And finally, question 5. Listen carefully, it's a long one. If you look at the covers of comics such as The Spirit, you would notice that the creator, Will Eisner, uses the same font for his name as this company uses for its logo. The fact that a former CEO of this company is Michael Eisner seems to be a coincidence, as there is no relation between Will and Michael Eisner that I can find. And that does it for logos. And we move on to homophones. Homophones. So let's get a little wordy, shall we? Let's see how we do there. So if you don't know, homophones are words that sound the same but are spelled differently. Alright? So the key is they will be spelled differently. I'm going to give you the 2 spellings, then I'm going to give you 2 definitions. You tell me which definition is which. Pretty simple because you got a 50-50 shot even if you have no clue. So there you go. Question 1. Kernel and Colonel. Which is an army officer and which is corn? Question 2. Principal and Principle. Which is the head authority in a school, and which is a set of morally correct behavior and attitudes? Question 3. Queuue and Key. Which is a lineup, and which is a device to unlock doors? Question 4. AIR and HEIR. Which is the next to be king, and which is what we breathe? Which is next to be king, and which is what we breathe? And finally, THYME and TIME. Which is told with a clock, and which is an herb? And that's it for category 3, which was homophones. And that brings us to category 4, which is famous phrases. I will start the phrase and then leave a blank. You complete the phrases by filling in the blanks. Simple enough? Here we go. Question 1. Take a long walk, blank. And there will be several words in the blank. You're basically just completing the famous phrase. So take a long walk, blank. Question 2. If at first you don't succeed, blank. Question 3. A Stitch in Time, blank. Question 4. People in glass houses, blank. And finally, question 5. Absolute power, blank. So there you go. Finish those 5 famous phrases. Take a long walk. If at first you don't succeed. A Stitch in Time. People in glass houses. And absolute power. And that's it for category 4. Look at it, 28 episodes later, I can't figure out how to not make that mistake. Here comes category 5. And this is Catch Me If You Can. Sadly though, it's not the movie. So for most of you out there, this may be a little tricky, because this is about the book, Catch Me If You Can. Alright, written, ghost-written by someone, and inspired by or helped by the actual person the book is about, which is Frank Abagnale Jr., the famous con man for whom the movie Catch Me If You Can was based. Leonardo DiCaprio played him, but this is about the book. So hopefully you've read the book, or you know a little something about Mr. Abagnale Jr. Question 1. How old was Frank Abagnale Jr. when he started writing bad checks? Which, as you know, is the basis for the bulk of his frauds. Question 2. What was the name of the girl Frank meets briefly in Las Vegas, who unwittingly instructs him how to make a better check? Sorry, and I apologize for that pause. In fact, I'm going to edit that out, so forget that. In fact, you're going to hear me telling you I'm going to edit it out, but there won't be a pause, because I'll have edited it out. The wonders of technology. Sorry, there was multiple choice. Let's get down to that, shall we? So, what was the name of the girl Frank meets briefly in Las Vegas who unwittingly instructs him how to make a better check? Was it A, Fairy? Was it B, Belle? Was it C, Pixie? Or was it D, Ariel? Alright, Fairy, Belle, Pixie, or Ariel. What was the girl's name from Las Vegas? For question 3, you have to answer this question. That made no sense. Sorry. In what country did Frank first spend 6 months in prison? He spent time in prison in multiple countries, but his first extended stay, 6 months, was in what country? Question 4. Frank is known for posing as a pilot, but he impersonated other professions as well. What did Frank pretend to be after he was a doctor, but before he was a university professor? Alright, so he was sort of, a pilot was his go-to identity, but he posed as a bunch of other things. At one point he was a doctor, at one point he was a university professor, and then between those two he was something else. What was he then? And finally, in the film version of the book, they changed the name of the FBI agent on Frank's trail. What was his name in the book? What was the FBI agent's name in the book? Alright, so it was the Tom Hanks character, but his name in the movie was different. Not sure why they bothered to change it. Possibly the actual FBI agent didn't want it known, or, I mean, that's not true because it was in the book, so it would have been known. I'm not sure why they changed it. Maybe they just thought it sounded better. Who knows? But what was it in the book? What was the FBI agent's name in the book? And that does it, folks. That is the end of the round. So, right now, let me quickly say thank you for listening. Thank you for sticking around for 28 episodes. If you've listened to every episode, I'm really thrilled about that. And I would love to extend my thanks to you, the listening audience. If you want to contact me and tell me you like the show, you didn't like the show, you want to tell me your scores, you want to suggest categories, you want to be a guest brain, whatever, you can contact me at OH_Brundage. That's my personal Twitter name. As well, you can go to at @thereal_ADTS. That's this show's Twitter page. And either way, you can get a hold of me to do any of those things we just mentioned, right? Being a guest brain, suggesting categories, your scores, etc., etc., etc. So go check that out. O_Brundage or @thereal_ADTS. Both of them are at Twitter. I'd love to hear from you guys. Give you a shout out on the following week. If you want to contact me and let me know your score, that would be great. For now, you'll need to know your score before you can tell me your score. So let's get to the answers, and let's get to them now. Your first category was the zombie virus. The movie 28 Days Later had a sequel, and that was 28 Weeks Later. The Resident Evil Corporation was the Umbrella Corporation. In Zombieland, it was mad cow disease that mutated to become the zombie virus. The author of World War Z was Max Brooks, son of Mel Brooks, if you didn't know that already. And in the comic series and TV series Walking Dead, it's Rick Grimes that is the main protagonist. So your answers in the zombie virus were 28 Weeks Later, Umbrella Corporation, Mad Cow Disease, Max Brooks, and Rick Grimes. Your second category was the company were logos. The company logo with the two-headed mermaid is Starbucks. The two companies that have logos that are just their name in red, blue, yellow, and green letters are Google and eBay. Number 3 was the white and red logo that features a guy with a fedora sort of stylized into the letters of the second word, and that was Coca-Cola. If you don't believe me, go check out Coca-Cola, turn the can sideways, and then look at cola the way it's written. You'll see how they've done it to make it look like a person. Question 4 was about the golden arches, and that, of course, is McDonald's. And finally, the company whose name is their logo, and that they use a font that's the same as the font Will Eisner used on the covers of his comic books, is Disney. Disney. So, your answers for logos were Starbucks, Google and eBay, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, and Disney. Your next question or categories, I'm not even going to act surprised that I keep making that mistake. Your next category was homophones, where the word is spelled differently but sounds the same. You had Colonel and Colonel. Kernel is corn, and Colnel is a army officer. The next one was principal and principal. Principal is the head of a school, and Principle is behavior and attitudes that are morally correct. Your principles, in other words. You had key and key. Queue is a line, and Key is what you use to unlock a door. Air and air were the words for question 4. AIR is what you breathe, and HEIR is the next in line to be king. Oh, and then you had time and time. THYME is a herb, and TIME is what is told on a clock. So you had, I'm not going to repeat those because it doesn't really flow very well. So hopefully you followed along. Your next category was famous phrases. Question 1 was take a long walk, and the answer is off a short pier. Take a long walk off a short pier. When someone doesn't want you around anymore, I guess. Question 2 was if at first you don't succeed, and your answer was try again. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Question 3 was a stitch in time, and your answer was saves 9. A stitch in time saves 9. Question 4 was people in glass houses, and the answer was shouldn't throw stones. So people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. And finally, absolute power, and the answer was corrupts absolutely. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So your answers there were off a short pier, try again, saves 9, shouldn't throw stones, and corrupts absolutely. And finally, the answers you all have been waiting for, at least you all have been waiting for if you're one of my English students and are getting ready for the test you'll be taking later. Catch me if you can. Question 1 was how old was Frank when he first wrote his bad checks, and that was 16. The girl's name who he met in Vegas and helped him make a better check unwittingly is Pixie, so C. In what country did Frank first spend 6 months in prison? It was France, and it was horrific. I recommend you read the book Chapter 9 just for that. The description of the prison sentence and the way he was treated there was horrific, and I would not ever want to go to prison in France, even if they've gotten better since then. Right? The movie does not do justice at how bad it was. Question 4. Frank was a lawyer between being a doctor and a university professor, and he legitimately passed the bar exam just from studying and then taking it. He just failed it twice, took it a third time, and passed it. So that's pretty impressive. Everything he did was pretty impressive. I recommend reading the book. It's a bit slow going at times, but man, it's impressive at what this kid was able to do at as early an age as 16. And I don't think any older than 21. I think is when he pretty much was finished his career as a criminal anyway. impressive stuff. But not good. Don't do it, kids. Make sure you do everything that's legal and law-abiding. And finally, question 5 was the name of the FBI agent on his trail in the book was O'Reilly. FBI agent O'Reilly. So your answers there were 16, Pixie, France, Lawyer, and O'Reilly. And ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's all. That brings us to the end of this episode. 28 episodes later of another damn trivia show. I hope you've had a good time. I hope you've managed to avoid the zombies roaming the streets. As we get closer to All Hallows Eve, that becomes a real threat and a real possibility. So, you go test your brains, flex your brains, work out your brains so you can be ready for next week's show. I'm going to go eat some brains. See ya. Well, that brings us to the end of another damn trivia show. You're a little wiser, a tad more intelligent, and a heck of a lot smarter. You're welcome. Remember, there are no stupid questions, but there are stupid answers. Luckily, those are usually funnier. Have a great day. Have a great week. Stay smart.